Kimberly McAdams is a candidate for College Station School Board Candidate 5, joins us today. Thanks for the time today.
Thanks for having us, Scott.
Tell me why you decided you want to run for another term.
Well, I'm running in some regards for the same reason I ran in the first place, right? I value public education, think it's important, so I think we need good people sitting at the table making the decisions for our students. And the reason I decided to keep running is because I still have a passion for it. And also, I feel like every year I learn something new and get a little bit better at it. I mean, particularly in the last few years, I invested a lot of time in reaching outside of College Station more at the state level and learning from other school board members and also getting involved with things that happen at the Capitol House in Austin as well.
I know that you've mentioned in the past you have really tried to zero in on Austin, learn more about that. That's a difficult situation no matter what. Even longtime members of the school board have a challenge with understanding school finance. In reality, what can you feel like Austin is going to give public school in the year to come?
Well, there's kind of two things. I feel like I finally got a pretty good handle on understanding public school finance because it is extremely complicated and it's tweaked every 2 years in Austin. Now, the other side of it, being able to influence what that looks like, has certainly been more of a challenge. I mean, it starts with being knowledgeable from my side and how these things are impacting College Station, and then also building those relationships with the legislators from here, as well as some of the folks that are, particularly focusing on public education in Austin.
I'd like to get your comments on two things. First of all, I still believe that on the high school level, this is a community with two schools, and the parents don't necessarily see eye to eye, and they get verbal about that. But secondly, you've gone through more than one situation where you've had to redraw the school district attendance zones. Two really big challenges. Let's start, first of all, with the two campus feeling on the high school level.
I think we're at a much better place than we had been at even a decade ago. This College Station High School's been open now since 2012, so there have been some adjustments. I truly do think that the boundary adjustment that happened, I guess, back in 2017-ish, where there was a concerted effort, and I was not on the board at that time, but an effort to really make those two campuses very balanced in terms of the capacity numbers, the socioeconomic status, and also, the offerings and programs at both schools. So that effort has paid off. I really think so. I mean, we have two very successful campuses on so many levels, the academics and we see it in the sports, back and forth on a lot of the different things, both in the fine arts. So I know there's always going to be some competition. We want that, but I do think if we keep that competition friendly and a little more balanced, it's better for all of us.
We've seen the classroom change for any number of reasons. More challenges for teachers. There have always been teachers that have been stressed, not happy about the situation. Are the numbers any different than they were the first time you sat on a school board?
My feeling is yes. I mean, I think that's shown not only here in College Station, it's been shown across the country and the state as well, right? That we have less folks who are wanting to go into teaching, and we are continue to lose some of our veteran teachers. And again, more so through the whole state, not just at College Station, because I do think it's been a harder job for many reasons. Some of it's political. I mean, that we're not giving as much, I think, respect to the classroom teachers as we should, and maybe thinking some things are happening in the classroom that are not happening. And I also think, there's been some of the other challenges that have been put on the classroom teacher, some out of Austin. Every 2 years, there's a little bit of extra stuff that a classroom teacher has to put on their plate. And I think that's hard. We need to be able to give them the opportunity to use their expertise, develop those relationships with their students, and really spend their time teaching that core subject with their students.
Texas became one of the states that included vouchers. That's certainly a bold experiment. Where does College Station ISD need to fit in now, and what will it look like in a year in your view?
Well, I mean, we're going to see in a year when vouchers become available to folks. It's not going to be, I don't think, an immediate large impact for a couple of reasons. One is that the money that is set aside for the vouchers, it is significant, and I really wish it would be going to our public schools. But the way the program is set up, many existing private school families will apply for that money. And that's been shown in lots of other states who've had these similar type programs, like 75% of the money. So I expect to see that in Texas. So they won't necessarily be pulling from current public schools. It'll be money just going to folks that are already in private schools.
Is part of your job going to be to explain to the legislature and the parents as well, if vouchers or private schools or charter schools take students away from you, mainstreaming is going to be a real challenge because there are going to be kiddos in your situation, not in the other situations, that can't be mainstreamed.
Certainly. There are always going to be kids in public schools, right? That's how I feel like. And we have still 5 million public school students in Texas, and we have got to do it benefits us all if we do an excellent job finding the right opportunity for each of those students to end up being contributing citizens to our society, paying taxes, having jobs. That's what we want. So we still need to support every level of student at our public schools and at CSISD.
Time and again, I hear the word trust. I need to be able to trust. The parents need to trust the school board or the teachers or the administration, and likewise, the administration needs to trust and support the teachers. It's a difficult balance.
It is. It's always trust but verify, right? And I think that is very much the role of a school board member, because we are officially board trustees. We are entrusted really with two things: the education of those 14,000 students in CSISD and our taxpayers' dollars to do the best job we can with those students. So yeah, we are entrusted with that. And so it's not, yes, I want to have good relationships with my board and with the administration, teachers, and families, but I'm really looking out for those students and making sure we can be as efficient and effective as we can with the taxpayers' dollars along the way. So we got to be transparent, ask the right questions along the way.
Explain to me in general terms, what the annual review of your superintendent looks like.
So the standard process is we set the goals for the superintendent. For us, that's in the summer, the June, July timeframe, kind of right at the end of the year. And we sit down and we'll talk about what do we want and expect throughout the next year. Most of those are right now based on our strategic plan and the goals we've set around that. Then generally we have a midterm review about 6 months in where we sit down and say, how do we think things are going? Really pretty much a conversation at that point. And then really the final review comes again the next June or July where we look at some data. And so some of it's the data-driven side, some of it's also how are you doing on some of the other goals that we've asked to accomplish throughout the either community or the district.
With that, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it is a key part of what a school board member does. I mean, so I'm not sounding like just a process, but it really is a key role of a school board trustee is not only hiring the superintendent, but then holding him or her accountable with setting the goals and then holding him or her accountable to meeting those goals.
As a member of an elected board now, social media gives a platform to anybody and anything, be they positive or negative. How do you measure what happens through social media, or for people who actually attend your meetings without doing it because they're sitting in front of a screen someplace in the city?
It does put a different perspective on things. I mean, as far as expressing things on social media, I think that's a positive. I mean, I have my own, Facebook site personally, and also for my school board role where I can put some things out so more people can see what is either important to me or I'm just sharing things about the district or public education. So I think that part can be very positive. But as far as a way to gather, kind of the the pulse of the community or teachers or parents, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Now, it is a way for more folks to reach our board, but I think you got to balance that with a couple of things. Balance it with lots of face-to-face conversations with people, right? But also balance it with more systematic collection of information. I am a huge fan of having kind of systematic survey type mechanisms where every year you're kind of asking the same questions and you're looking for those trends and that feedback, so you really get a feel for how, whether it's your parents or your teachers and staff, how are they doing at this present time. So again, it can be a piece of it, but you got to be careful with that social media.
Anything else you'd like to cover today?
I am just, glad you're having us here. I think more people who understand our needs of our public schools and are engaged with what's going on both here in College Station, but also in Austin, and how the decisions there impact us. I think more people engaged and more knowledgeable, the better off we'll all be, because like I said at the beginning, when we do a good job with our public schools and we do a good job at CSISD, I truly believe we all benefit in this community. So,
Kimberly McAdams, she is a candidate for College Station School Board, Place 5. Thanks for the time.
thanks for having us, Scott.